Welcome to the Business Show podcast here on Radio Newark 107.8 FM and now, of course, across DAB in Knots and Links. My name's Simon Gabitas. I am one of your hosts and I'm joined by Mr. Michael Hardy. Michael, hello, how are you?
Hello, Simon. Great to be here. Another fantastic hour or so talking business, local business on Radio Newark.
And you've got your shorts on yet again.
Absolutely.
The summer is coming. It's on its way.
It's here.
And we are joined today by one of our guests. So we've got Liam Reid, Innovation and Technology Director. Did I get that the right round? I didn't, did it? It's Technology and Innovation Director. I should write this down. I think it sounds... But anyway, we won't go there. We'll go with what the business guy says. Hello, how are you, Liam?
I'm very good, Simon. Thank you for having me on this morning. And yes, I switch the words around all the time, so it all makes the same sense, I think, anyway. But thanks for having me on.
No, and indeed, I think it must... I was looking back at the notes. It must be... Is it a year since you and Mark came on? I think you were one of our first guests, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, about a year or so ago now, wasn't it? Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Michael, what is happening on our show today?
So on today's show, Simon, we've got last month's meeting highlights.
Yo.
We're then going to have the business show big quiz, which is great that Liam's here to help you.
Yep.
Obviously, we're going to talk to Liam from Barcode. We've also got Kevin Guthrie as our committee member and actual sponsor of the May meeting on the show. We've then got grants for you and a quick update of what's going to happen in the May meeting.
Sounds good.
So let's crack on with the show.
Excellent stuff.
Last month's highlights.
Well, it was April. It was the AGM. It was 2 years of me being chairman of Newark Business Club. So it was a reminder that actually in a year's time, we'll be looking for a new chair. So Liam put the feelers out. So the idea was, as part of the AGM, we had updates from Michelle, our treasurer. So she was, in fact, she did it via video because she was on her way to Belgium, I think, for a cycle race.
She was.
But that came across really well, gave us a lot of information, and we're in a positive place as a club, which is great. We had an action group update from your good self, which was started by lots of different video clips from different places that you've recorded from over the last year or so. And I think, what we discussed as a committee and what we've had feedback on is actually when you do some of those videos out in the middle of town or at the marketplace, at the castle or at the Northgate station, it gives a bit of an idea and a background to, what you're doing. You're out and about. You've obviously been out on your bike quite a lot, so you've put the miles in as well, which is always good. I gave a chair update, so it was quite good actually, because we kind of have done quite a lot over the last 12 months. There's lots of events that we've been involved in, lots of things that we're planning for the future as well, so exciting times, lots of table networking. So again, for people that are driving in that maybe haven't been before, listening in, we do a 60-second round the table. This is a time to tell people about who you are, what you do, why you want to link with other businesses, what it is you may be looking for. We gave a couple of books away, so we'll talk about that in a bit. And then we had our member spotlight. So we had Charlotte, who was massively passionate about her new project, the Health Barn over at Hockerton.
Yes.
I did actually try and find it. I was on my way back from a football game with the my under 12s, and I did try and find it on the way back, but couldn't quite. So I'll go and have a chat with her, and hopefully she had a great... It was her opening day, wasn't it, on Saturday afterwards. So that was our April meeting. Action-packed once again.
Fantastic. And the club's in good health, which is great. And we'll talk to Kevin a little later about the patrons, which he was part of setting up.
Yes,
which is part of the strength of the club, I think. So,
yes.
Hence why Liam is here.
Yes.
Okay, bit that I know everybody's looking forward to, the business show big quiz.
Did quite well last month, Liam.
He did. No pressure.
Exciting.
So we've got a few questions about business that's going on around and about. And we just see how well you know what's going on in the business world. So,
sounds good.
We're going to start with the IMF, so International Monetary Fund, who look at global and as well as UK business performance. And they've given their update. Obviously, there's quite a lot going on in the world of trade with Trump, China, etc., etc. So after the UK was inflation was slightly lower than expected, they've also talked about growth being lower, which isn't great. But they did deliver some potentially good news for business owners. Do you know what they talked about that was potentially good news?
Yeah.
No, thinking more interest rates potentially going down. Yeah, we're going down that route.
Interest rates.
Okay, so interest rates.
Yeah. So they reckon there could be up to 3 interest rate cuts this year.
That's significantly going to help.
That will certainly
Yes.
help. Well done, Simon.
It's the shock on your face, Michael.
Without any help from your guest, I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's, although growth's lower and there are some challenges, they actually said that because of the market we're in, they would expect the Bank of England to cut rates, and there's quite a lot of noise that that's going to start on their next month. So
Very good.
0.25%, which we know for a lot of businesses that feeds straight through into their borrowing because it's all interest related. So interest rate related.
There's definitely a lot going on. As a business club, anyway, we do have conversations going on with the Bank of England. So, in fact, this week I've been chatting with a couple of the agents for the East Midlands about when they can come and give us some updates.
Yeah,
and again,
perfect.
I think in the past they've just waiting for the right time to give us the right updates because there's so much going on and so many different things that affect it. And I suppose what they don't want to do is come and give 100 people an update and then the next week go, that's not. So it's just, so hopefully later on in the year we're going to hear from the Bank of England at one of our meetings.
Good stuff. So well done, Simon. Okay, which UK business has been impacted by a cyber attack this week?
Oh, I did read about that.
Oh, right, okay, I'm struggling.
I thought this was the easy one.
Last time we looked at
I can't think who it was.
it's which UK business has been affected by a cyber attack?
Repeating the question doesn't.
Well, no, I'm just thinking. I'm just making sure it's UK.
Just buying some time.
And
I can't help you with that one.
No, you're gonna have to tell us, Michael.
Marks and Spencer.
Oh,
Is it really?
Yeah.
Ah.
And locally, people will have known this because they couldn't take card payments.
Right. Okay.
So people were going to the store and it was cash only. I mean, crying out loud in the 21st century, you can only buy things with cash. But yeah,
And Marks and Spencers as well. I mean, you've got to have some cash in your wallet, haven't you?
So I think it affected them for 2 days. 2 days
really?
of no card payments.
Yeah, I did read about that.
And that was that on a national level as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know whether you've probably got the stats there or not, but I mean, what kind of money is involved in?
I haven't got those stats.
But the transactions at Marks and Spencers
On a
in
daily
2
basis.
days.
Yeah, it's not used card payment. Although we are
That's
seeing
colossal.
that a rise in cash payments
Yes,
again.
we
We're
are.
starting to see that growing again. So they've got to adapt to it.
But not at Marks and Spencer's.
No one's got a till anymore to actually accept any cash or give you any change back anymore. That's the
truck of
problem.
cash that you've got to carry around with you when you're doing your shopping at M&S.
And again, I mean, technology and how it comes on. But I mean, I remember working on a project where it was a toll bridge, a local toll bridge actually, and it was just cash. Whereas actually I've driven through that more recently, and they do take card payments. But because it was some obscure payment like 28p to go across the bridge, everyone paid 30p or 40p or 50p. But they needed the most colossal bag of 2p's every day. And I remember going up to see them, and they were like, while you're going back up, can you carry this bag of 2p's? And me and a colleague just were struggling. We were going, what is this? But it is, I mean, how things have changed in terms of change.
So,
okay, Marks and Spencers. Well,
Marks and Spencer's. And I think, we'll talk a bit more about technology and where it's going, but cyber security is huge, and I think like a lot of these things, we do take it for granted. We're a small business, it's not really for us, and yet actually think about the impact if all your laptops and all your data, and we were talking off air beforehand about me using my Remarkable and how that's great, but of course that comes with a risk. At least if it was the old pads, how many is it? 3 in your bag?
3 in my bag, yeah.
At least, unless you leave your bag on the train or in a taxi, you've pretty much got them with you, whereas this has everything, and it might get backed up to a cloud, but
and if you're a small business, I mean, if Marks and Spencers, you'd like to think there's some resilience there, but if you're a small business and you don't take for 2 days, I mean, that could be the profit for your month, couldn't it?
Absolutely.
So
it absolutely could be a killer for your business. I mean, I think was it last year before, a business we worked with, they had a cyber attack. We just started working with them, so it's not fortuitous, obviously, for them, in that it was it was terrible. For a fortnight, they struggled to trade. Large distribution business. and we did our part to help them out with it all. But yeah, 2 weeks down, and the losses that they incurred was incredible.
Well, yeah, and actually 2 days is quite a quick turnaround to deal with that, sort it out, and get back to kind of business as usual. So, I suppose the reality is, as we've always said, think about these things and have a plan.
Have a plan.
But if you work on the principle of, businesses make 10% net profit, and that's good. 2 weeks out, there's 5% or whatever of you near enough 4%, 4 and a bit percent of the year. So if you're not, massive impact on profits.
Absolutely.
Okay, final question.
Question number 3.
Why are Apple and Meta unhappy with the EU?
Is this to do with data and security and access?
Yeah.
That was the Apple thing, I remember. I didn't know Meta were involved with it, but the UK government allowing, or is it the EU now?
The EU have fined them 500 million and 200 million respectively.
Wow.
So Apple, it's about access to apps, because it's almost a closed shop, so you can, and Meta, it's about their how they show things and their access to their data, etc. So
big money,
huge money. So huge. And again, they're big businesses. They have a couple of quid in their coffers, but you can't lose 500 million too often before even a business of that size it starts to impact them.
Yeah. So we're making friends with our.
And you can imagine that just also plays into the Donald Trump piece about, because he will see that as being an attack on an American business behind, backdoor, etc. So there we go. So cybersecurity, beware. Whatever you are involved in, always beware. And some hopeful positive news around interest rates, that if the IMF are talking that up, then there will be some momentum and expectation, which puts pressure on the Bank of England, actually. Although they go, well, we're independent, the reality is that they get, as everybody does, influenced by markets and what's happening out there. So there we go. So that's this week's quiz.
I think you're going with the fact that last month was so negative in terms of the information.
You're absolutely right.
You were like, give me some positive information that I can talk about.
Still 1 in 3 was positive. Well, it depends how you look at it. If you're Apple or
absolutely.
It's good. It's good. Right. Well, what's next up then, Michael?
So we've got our patron sponsor, Barcode Warehouse.
The Barcode Warehouse.
They're delighted they've joined us today.
And of course, we have, I'm going to get it right this time because I've got it in front of me and I've written it down. Liam, you are the Technology and Innovation Director.
That is correct, yes.
So great to see you, Liam.
Thank you again, I think, first and foremost, for being involved as a patron sponsor. It's great to have Barcode Warehouse involved. And again, it's been great to see various people from the team come to the Newark Business Club meetings as well. It's important. And I think it's good because we've said we've got a real range of, one-man bands, small businesses, and then through to much larger businesses, and I mean, having you guys on as a patron, we've got GXO and Currys involved as a patron sponsor as well, so another big employer in the area. I suppose just on that, I think it demonstrates, because I know Mark has been and given us the sort of kitchen table starting point story. I think it can be inspirational to some of our smaller businesses who are in those early years, that you can grow to something that is a lot bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 38 years, I think it is this year, and going from, a small shed in Sutton to now 3 sites on Brunel Drive is, hopefully it is inspirational. And it is, to be part of that's
absolutely
awesome.
And I think for business owners who are, in those, 3, 5, 10 years even in, who are going, well, how do I go past this sort of, this status where I'm earning an okay living, but I'm earning an okay living. How do I break through that? Actually, there are ways to do that. How can and there are inspirations that can show you that with the right focus, with the right support, then you can achieve it.
Yeah, you can get there, and sometimes it's about doing things differently. Even now as a business that's been relatively successful, I'd say over that period, the growth has been consistent over that time, and it is about doing sometimes things a little bit differently and trying. You want to keep your core because that's paying the bills and the mortgage, like Kevin was saying. But that this is where we're at now as a business in terms of the technology. We are a technology business, and being a reseller of technology for a number of years, being a service provider for that for a number of years, but actually now trying to wrap it all together and build genuine solutions that are fixing problems for businesses. Not only helps them grow, but also enables our growth at the same time.
Yeah, and I think, chatting to you and others at the Barcode Warehouse, the idea that you are very much leading as this solutions provider, a managed service provider, providing solutions is the main thing that you're leading with. Because yes, you can sell a product, you always have done. You can sell some labels, always have done. But actually, it's your ability as a business to bring all of those things together in a project and manage it all, and even have at the front end of it a help desk, answering the phone as that company name through to looking after the product.
It's that whole end to end really, from understanding what an end user is trying to achieve, what a business is trying to achieve, what problems they're trying to solve, and then working with them closely through that journey all the way through to, as you say, the delivery, the implementation, the support, the evolution of that solution as well, and trying to live and breathe with the customer and the end user around that.
I think that's in the marketing. That you should get your head of marketing. Evolution of the solution.
Evolution of the solution.
Evolution of the solution. But I think what's inspiring is some of the big projects that you guys have worked on. Some of the biggest rollouts and deployments of mobile devices in Europe has happened from Newark. Which is exciting. And we do. We need to continue celebrating some of these great things that are happening. I was going to mention actually, a couple of years off, the 40-year anniversary. That's got to be a big party, that one.
I imagine so, yeah.
But again, 40 years of business, and how, like you've just said, Liam, you've continued to evolve, you've continued to add. And I suppose thinking about that and some of your role as well, we talked last time that you and Mark were on the podcast about the Ice Centre. How's that evolving? How's everything going? And just for people that are listening, Ice Centre means...
So that's our innovation and customer experience centre. So that's a part of the business that I look after with my team. It is a technology hub. It is an immersive experience centre where we utilise the technology really to help our customers identify areas of growth for them. But more importantly, as I mentioned earlier, it's around trying to understand problems that they have and aspirations that they have, and utilising the centre really to bring them in, show them the art of the possible, and take them on that journey really. The centre will be 2 years old in June this year, from when we officially opened, from June 14th, 23. So that's quite exciting. We've welcomed, I think it was March, we had our record-breaking month in terms of customers that came to and had a solutions lab within our experience centre. So we had 26 end users come in, so that's individual businesses from across the UK that all visitors. I think, if I remember my stats right, because I try and publish something on LinkedIn every Christmas, was we say over 500 end users that we've had come in. And what we're finding as well is that we've got to evolve with it. So we're having customers that are coming in on day one, let's say, and they might come in again sort of day 300, day 400 even. And it needs to be different. It needs to look, it needs to feel. So, as you'll know, Simon, my background is a little bit arty and theatre and things. So we're trying to bring some of that into it now, and try and create more of a theatrical experience, as well as immersing with the technology into that as well.
I like it, and people have got to see, like you say, the art of the impossible, or the possible. But the idea of, they maybe didn't come to see what you're showing them, but they can walk away going, we can do that. We can implement that into our business. And it's one thing going through a catalogue, it's another thing having a look on a website, but actually, seeing a demo environment, your little dojo area, your mock warehouse, and actually going, oh, right, okay, so we thought we were doing things well. Actually, this is how it could feel. This is how it could look in our business.
That's it. And helping businesses digitise, I think, is really key. I think I've seen some local businesses over the last couple of years really embrace sort of digital technology. I mean, there's some, without naming names, there's some local, even sort of takeaway types of places now that have really embraced that in terms of digital menu boards, the ordering experience, and creating that almost that online experience, but in store, whether that's in retail, whether that's in a restaurant, in hospitality, etc. And that I find really encouraging to see in a local in the local community as well.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, just thinking about it, actually, I remember seeing all the EPOS tags and all of the labels that are actually, I mean, you see them in some big supermarkets now where it's all, I guess it's based off a Wi-Fi solution where you can then send a price update.
Yes, yeah.
So again, it's not a case of, right, somebody go and reprint that, go and change it round. Actually, you can do that.
Yeah, digital labels is a growing area for us as a business now. Electronic shelf edge labeling it's called. So we're seeing that. Obviously, retail's the obvious place for that, but in warehousing as well, we start seeing distribution as well. So where you've got high turnover of stock and your shelf edges and your racking labels are changing again, as you say, you can update it all centrally, push it out. You've got compliance. You're saving somebody the task of going to the back of store, to the front of store, printing labels off. From a sustainability point of view, you're reducing the paper wastage, etc. So, yeah, exciting times.
No, it is, and we've got to. I mean, in that kind of environment, you've got to react, and it just shows actually how if things do happen, you can use technology to help you do that in a fast-paced environment. So that's good.
Indeed. So technology, but innovation. So where are we going? The two letters that almost are on every business person's lips. Some who are going, it'll never catch on, to those that are going, oh my God, this is going to ruin me, because so AI. So how's AI affecting you guys?
Massively, I'd say. It's the buzzword. It's you felt it growing, I'd say, probably over the last 12 to 18 months, really. I think the likes of a ChatGPT, the Gemini platforms, etc. I mean, AI has been around in this guise. We know that obviously there's a difference between true AI and where what we're talking about there, but I think that gave it a face that everybody could sort of go, I get it now. I understand where this is working. I can type something in and it gives me some information back. But from a business perspective, it's. I think it's at a point now where it is going to be a thing. It already is. Businesses are adopting it and reaping some serious rewards for it. From an efficiency gain, from a customer experience improvement perspective, it's on everyone's lips.
It is, and I think that's the piece, isn't it? It's about how you save time, how you improve that customer experience. By saving time, can you add more value, which maybe gets better income or maybe reduces some of your cost base?
Absolutely.
Because that's what it's there to help with.
It is, and I think you're absolutely right. I think for us, we've looked at it from a number of different angles, really. If we look internally at how we want to embrace AI, we're just building a roadmap out around that, and that's all around efficiency gains and reduction in error. That's a key part of it. As an example, as a business, we sell thousands and thousands of different products. And with each of those products comes a series of accessories that you require, whether that's a cable, it's a cradle, it's something in your vehicle that you need to mount the device, etc., etc., etc. And it's quite easy to make those simple mistakes, but the data's all there. So it's a case of utilising the AI tool to go, right, I am purchasing said item that you now need to go, I need X, Y, and Z to go with it. And that reduces that human interaction to go, or not human interaction, but that human element of it that can go, I've picked the wrong part.
Yes.
And actually the human just then goes through and validates, actually that's absolutely right this time around.
Which is what you've been doing in warehouse solutions and maybe some of the voice solutions in warehousing as well before, utilising, again, I mean, some people might not even realise some of the products that land at their doorstep have been picked by someone in a warehouse wearing a headset with voice commands telling them where to go, but it's using that data. Yes, you still need somebody to actually go and do it, but it's got obviously that clever kind of piece of data and the automation piece happening behind the scenes already. So, and that's been happening for years, hasn't it?
Yeah, with voice technology, you're right. Having a headset on and a software platform telling you where to go, what to pick, where to take it, and then what to do next thereafter has been 15, 20 plus years probably, that sort of technology. But I think where I'm seeing that evolve now is utilising camera technology as well. And I think the aim is again, reduction in error, but also that, especially in sort of a warehousing distribution environment, sometimes there's a high turnover of staff. You have peak periods where you recruit additional resource in to support that additional work. And that time frame from a new starter to becoming operationally efficient is is it can be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks, could be 2 months, dependent on the work. Where we're seeing AI now start to take over is that fully guided experience where I can give somebody a camera, a tablet or a mobile device, and they actually are getting told everything what to do. I mean, you can take it to the next level where smart glasses, and you can go down the AR
because we saw that come out quite a while ago and then disappeared. Have you got kind of solutions coming up with the glasses?
We have. I think the barrier with it is the physical unit. I think that's a big barrier when it comes to.
And it's not going to be cheap, right? I guess.
No, they're not. Yeah. They're not. And the content creation is quite costly.
Okay.
And obviously, if you're in a changing environment, you might need to continuously change your software. So I think that's where the barriers are with smart wearable technology like that. But I think where you've got, as I say, with devices now where you can wear them with cameras, etc. I've seen demonstrations now where, again, as somebody that doesn't know how to work in a warehouse, doesn't know what picking is, doesn't know how to run a flow, to be able to go to take either a voice command or a command on a device that says, you're going to go here, the device is going to wayfind you to where you need to go. You're going to look, or your device is going to look at the racking, for example, highlight which box it is you need to take, and then go and tell you to put it over in bay 2 or on this. And I find that quite exciting, because that's got to be a challenge for a lot of businesses of, as I say, of making people or getting people trained up quickly. And I'm a big proponent of, you kind of learn by doing. You can sit in a classroom, you can be told, but there's nothing like actually experiencing it and doing it for yourself. And
sure. And I think, one of the things we talked about before the show as well was the idea of utilising technology, and we talked about it before, the science and the art, utilising that technology, but actually still having that human element, which is so important. And I suppose, the message that we were kind of talking about is, actually let's keep testing, some of the stuff that's coming out. Let's keep pushing the boundaries and seeing what we can do. But actually, let's keep bringing it back and actually, utilising our teams, our people. Because, actually, I look at the idea that, if you can save time, energy, money, whatever it is, then great. You can then go do something else. So it's about, allowing that time saving, that money saving to go and allow you to evolve and do something different.
Yeah, it's all those things where you go, if we just had time to do this, it'd be amazing that we could do this, but we've got all this stuff to do. And you're right, if you can remove some of that laborious elements of
you come in and go, I can do that, we can take that away.
Yeah, we can, exactly. We can make it better. And you're right, it's about repurposing, and I think adding value and that human interaction in any environment I've ever worked in, whether that be customer facing, working on service desks with teams, etc. Dealing with people's a massive part of that. And we always say, obviously we're in a business where we sell, people buy from people, but you want to allow the people the time to go and do that.
Absolutely.
And if you're sitting writing and Simon, you've probably done this multiple times in your past as well, sitting writing tender responses to documents which are laborious and take hours, and all for somebody to look at a pound sign at the end of it all and what have you. How can we look at reducing that so we're spending more time on the value of that rather than spending 80% of the time worrying about creating it in the first instance rather than that final.
Just send them a pair of goggles next time and
That's
go,
what I'll do.
Have a look through and this is what it could look like. Or like we say, you've got the eye centre, so it's a case of going, look, we can read as many proposals as you like, but come and have a look at how it looks.
Physically come and see it and talk to us. Yeah,
nice.
And that's important.
And kind of AI, Michael, I mean, you've got a bunch of workshops coming up yourself, haven't you? That you're
we're
delivering.
running some workshops over in Collingham with David O'Brien and Steph Wright. So and not just for people who don't use AI, but actually sharing the knowledge about what AI is about, the risks from a business perspective. I was reading something the other day about people bringing AI into the business that the business hasn't security checked. We're talking about cybersecurity, using AI to ask questions that gives information for the business. And the thing is, when you're doing that, you're giving the information to the AI to learn and grow. So do you understand that? There's also the bit about the prompts. Actually, although AI is this clever thing, the reality is, the better the prompt, the better the solution. So giving people some advice on how they prompt, what they should be looking for, why they should be using it is important. And then that piece around, we're all in the same sea, just in different boats. But if we can have 5 or 6 or 12 different boat owners all learning together about AI, sharing their experience, big companies, small companies, is it just for marketing? Is it for writing tenders? What can we use it for? What are the best forms of AI? We all know about Copilot and ChatGPT now, but the reality is they're just the sort of almost the front end of it.
Yeah, like you said, Liam, the face, isn't it?
Yeah, so there is so much more to it. So those programs are running from May onwards, and so we're excited because it's trying to bring something that is going to change business. I think the CEO of Google said it's the equivalent of humans getting fire and humans getting electricity, because you have to then learn how to use it, but those two things change the way that humans interacted with each other and lived and what have you. And AI, we're not going to stop it. The Pandora's box is open. So you either understand it, work with it, embrace it, or you will be very quickly behind a lot of other people.
Absolutely, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think it's how we use it, and you've got to be careful. And I remember reading something. This would have been in the very early days when ChatGPT first came out, and it was like, this is exciting. I was getting it to write children's stories that I was reading to my kids that were tailored and things like that. And you learn over time that you have to. So I read something that says you almost have to treat it like a work colleague, in terms of if you're trying to instruct somebody on how to do something, you've got to be quite precise in terms of what the output you want them to give you. And it's exactly the same with this. Is treat it like you would a team of people, and you've got to be quite clear with it really to get out of it. And if you do that well, what you get out of it is really useful.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
Exactly.
Kids stories. We actually there was someone, I'm not going to mention any names, that we know that was sending love poetry to their partner, created by ChatGPT.
Moving on.
But no, I guess in terms of Barcode Warehouse then, Liam, anything else big? What's kind of happening for you guys at the moment?
So a lot of the focus at the moment is around visibility.
Okay.
That's probably one of the key words I get to hear a lot. Visibility, traceability, and that's of things. It could be of people, and that's a common theme, and that's led to a growth in RFID technology, so being able to track things without having to physically scan them. So we're seeing that outside of AI in our industry, that's a real hot topic. So we've done a lot of work over the last few years around that, so growing some capabilities and some skill set in-house that allows us, like we were talking about earlier, to do that full end-to-end piece, from the conceptualization through to the full, hopefully at some point, retirement and refresh of that solution. People are losing things all the time, and I think the drive around your delivery of parcels over the last few years, obviously from the pandemic onwards, and knowing where things are, has grown into other areas where I want to know where my pallet is. Yep. I want to know where that plastic tote is, because if I lose that plastic tote, that's costing me X pounds, etc., etc. But I don't want somebody there physically scanning every single one of them. I want it to move through its normal journey and tell me that I've got 20 of these and here's where they are. Yeah. So, and that's coming across all different verticals that we work within as well, whether that's in transport and logistics, distribution, again, retail, etc. So, yeah, we ran a number of showcase events in March in the Innovation Centre, and had a large number of people come and learn about RFID, about near field communication, and all the way from the tag all the way through to the technology you need to be able to read the tags, etc., which was really, really positive.
Yeah, and I guess done right. I mean, RFID, you can do mass stock counting, can't you? And get results like that, which actually are possibly they're more accurate than a human being counting them. Yeah. And again, it's the opportunity of going, well, that's great, we've taken that bit out, right, what can we do now?
Exactly.
What can we spend our time doing?
Yeah, if I'm automating that bit, what can that person go and do that's even more valuable?
Indeed. Well, no, it sounds like you've got a lot of exciting things going on at Barcode Warehouse. Like I say, as a solutions provider, as a technology company, which you very much are. It's exciting to see what you're doing from 3 offices now in Newark, but obviously Newton House, the newer building with your tech centre as well, which is great. It's a massive thank you from Newark Business Club for being involved as a patron sponsor.
Yep.
And hopefully, long may that continue, the partnership that we have with you. Michael, anything else for Liam?
No, really appreciate your time this morning and giving us a real sort of snapshot of what's going on in your world, and hopefully people have learnt something there and have got their own minds going and thinking, actually, we need to think about those things for our own business. So.
No, it's been a pleasure being on, and if there is anyone listening that wants to come and visit the Innovation Centre and have these sorts of conversations and just have a look at what is possible. We're local. We're only on the industrial estate.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
No, that sounds like an amazing opportunity, and we'll put some when we post this out onto the social media for the business club as well. We'll post some links back to you guys as well. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Okay. Next on the show, grants for the memories.
Grants for the memories. We still haven't got a jingle for that. Lee, you can help me with that actually at some point.
So, Will Parkinson, Newark and Sherwood District Council, very kindly provides 2 grants every month. There are a plethora of grants out there. Will's your man to find out what grants are relevant to your business, but these 2, I think, are really interesting and topical. So the first one is from Made Smarter. And you can get up to 50% match grant funding for SMEs operating in the manufacturing industry for digital transformation projects. Okay. So the scheme offers support for manufacturing SMEs, helping them modernise, go digital, create new jobs. Made Smarter's national movement to drive growth amongst UK makers and advance the UK economy aims to improve the development and adaptation of emerging technologies. The initiative is expected to boost digital skills of industry leaders, bringing businesses and research development together to develop new technology and helping makers embrace new digital tools. I think we've just talked about that, haven't we? Other support available from the scheme includes impartial expert advice as well as specialised management training. No deadline, and if you visit the Made Smarter website, you can get all the details, but up to 50% grant funding for digital projects.
Excellent.
Really good.
Sounds good.
Grant number 2 is Adobe Brand Builder Competition. So Adobe, very much in the graphic design sort of world, they're looking to offer cash grants to help small businesses in the UK grow and enhance their brands. Grants can be won by businesses that compete in a monthly challenge to create content for their brand for a chance to win £1,000. So great opportunity. So for example, in May, create a social media post using Adobe, submit that, and there'll be 2 winners each month. So I think for some of our creative industry businesses, which we have quite a few of in Newark, why not? And I know that a lot of them use Adobe, because that is the sort of go-to creative tool. So why not enter the competitions and see if you can win £1,000 for it? And it's social media in May, a video in June, promotional flyer in July, and a pitch deck in August. So there's plenty of scope there. So so 2 different things, but both worthwhile looking at.
As we always say, thank you to Will Parkinson, the Economic Development Team at Newark and Sherwood District Council, for providing that information. And if there is additional stuff that you'd like to chat to them about or find out if there's any grants for you, then please contact them directly.
Absolutely. So as we're getting to the back end of the podcast, what's at this May meeting? What can people look forward to?
So as mentioned, we've got another one of our guests, Kevin Guthrie, who's sponsoring the meeting with Kevin Guthrie Therapy. He'll be telling us a bit more about what he gets up to. Our patron sponsor that's going to be there this month is Gusto Group. So we're going to hear, I believe, from Steph Wright.
We are indeed.
We've got some table networking. We'll be giving away another book. I think we may hear from our local MP, Robert Jenrick, who might be joining us at the end of the meeting, hopefully if time allows. And yeah, there's another opportunity to meet some new people in the room, which is great because we are seeing, in fact, we've already seen quite a few people book on, but lots of new names. So people are obviously talking about the business club. People are, people are spreading the information, and actually, it's great to see and hear from some new people and get that feedback as well, which is one of the things that we're doing at the moment as a club.
I had somebody through LinkedIn message me randomly going, "I've heard really great things about Newark Business Club. Am I okay to come along to the next meeting?" Yeah.
Well, I think that's the other thing as well. I think because we refer to people as members a lot, people go, "Oh, do I have to sign up? Do I have to register?" And I think because there are a lot of maybe more networking based groups where it's a long-term membership, and you've got to pay some money. I think the thing for us to reiterate is that is not the case with Newark Business Club. Actually, turn up to 1 meeting in a year, turn up to 12 meetings a year. It doesn't matter.
What's next, Simon?
So next on the agenda, we've got our second guest today on the podcast. So it is a big hello to Kevin Guthrie. Kevin, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
No, it's good to see you again. It must have been, it's been a while since we've had you on the show. This is the second time on the podcast.
It is.
How are you keeping?
I'm good. I'm very busy, but I'm good. I'm well. I'm healthy.
Good. Well, I was going to say, actually, you're always spinning lots of plates, lots of things going on. So one of the things that we were going to talk about, I guess, was your role on the committee as an ex-chairman of Newark Business Club as well, what you do there, and then we'll get to talk about your day job, or day jobs, in what you do as well.
Which
one? So I suppose in terms of the committee, obviously you were the chair before me, and again, we've continued to kind of, hopefully do some of the great work that you had in place as well. Slightly different venue, but I guess the other part of what you're doing is working with Michael and the team in terms of the action group, feeding information into that from the hospitality and the leisure piece as well. So I guess, can you give us a bit of for people listening as well, an idea of your time on the committee and what other stuff you get involved with as well?
I guess my time on the committee, I came in as chairman if I'm really honest, I did that as a challenge to see whether I could do it. And during my short 2-year stint, I became very passionate about the club because it's an incredible club. It does some great things. So I became very passionate. So when the chairmanship went to you, and because I got too busy, I didn't really want to step away completely. I kind of wanted to keep my voice in there just a little bit because I did become quite precious.
No, and I think it's good. I mean, we are blessed. I've said all the time, we've got a great committee. We've got some very dedicated volunteers.
Yeah.
But we've got we've got Michelle, who previously chair as well.
Yeah.
So we are blessed that we've got that experience, and I think that is good. Amy Cobb, when she was chair, stayed on as well for a bit. So I think that is great for us because it is the experience that we need. Obviously, we mentioned at the AGM that in 11 months' time now we'll need a new chair. And I think having the support of other people from previously doing that role, from the action group, from the exec committee, I think is going to be really important for whoever steps into that role. So if you are listening and want to do that, give us a shout.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about that this morning. We're just 11 months away from looking for someone new, or slightly less than that. But it's a very resourceful committee, and there's a lot of passion there. There's a lot of knowledge there. We don't always agree, but I think that's good. Yeah. We have an adult debate about it sometimes.
Yep.
But it's a great committee.
I don't think we should always agree, should we?
No, we shouldn't.
If we were always agreeing, then it's actually not a well-functioning group of individuals. So.
I agree entirely.
That's why we work together, Michael.
Exactly.
Just to disagree with each other. But no, you're right, and I think it's the passion that kind of comes through. At the end of the day, we have got the same common goal, the same objective. We're trying to make sure that meeting is interesting, informative, that we can add value to people. And again, it's I think coming back to probably some of the stuff that you did add into that. The patrons, you guys worked together really closely on that at a time where we needed sustainability for the club. So we needed money, we needed some funds into the club to make sure that we could keep it going. That's probably done better than we expected.
Way better. Yeah.
And great to have support of a range of different businesses. Some small, medium sized, and again we've got some big business that's come on this year as well.
I think that was something that when we were going through that process, we wanted to make sure that all types of business in the community had their ability to be involved. So we didn't just go, to the bigger businesses that could afford slightly more, and we wanted everybody to have that ability to be involved.
Yeah, it's really important the club's accessible by everybody.
Yeah.
We have to have that range, don't we?
Sure.
So,
and that's why we've obviously tweaked some stuff this year as well with the meeting sponsorship. We've kind of actually brought the price down for that because we wanted to make that accessible for as many people as possible, and actually give, like you said, Michael, different businesses different options to get involved and feel like they're part of it. And
Absolutely.
it's great that some of the smaller businesses maybe can go, right, I sponsor the calendar, and I can see that on the calendar, and I see, we chat to people and they're like, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing my logo, and when that comes to that month. So I guess coming away from I was going to say you're also involved in some of the marketing stuff that we do as well, which is good, because again, some of your ideas that kind of came into the club, we love the walk-on music. Why we never had walk-on music, but it adds another dimension, doesn't it? And it's, I think when I've kind of seen and heard other events, and I'm going, it just needs something else to
spice it up.
Yeah, and we've got a great AV team as well.
The AV team are brilliant. Peachy are amazing, but you have to, in a space like that, you have to have stuff that spices the environment up.
Yeah,
it makes people sit up. When I don't know, we play the A team, or we play. I had a particular tune for you. I can't remember it. Oh, he works hard. She works hard for the money.
She works hard for the money. Well, that was the charity stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. And it makes people set up, because at 7 o'clock in the morning, you don't expect to hear that tune at a business club. So it makes people sit up, and it keeps them awake.
Yeah.
And it brings them back into the room.
It does remind me, actually, we do need to probably put our heads together and put a nice playlist together for when people get there.
Yeah.
Just, again, go through some new upbeat songs that we can get going as well. Yeah. So
add some spice.
Yeah, so actually, if you're listening to this on the way into the business club, then pay attention to the playlist, because we might have had a look at that.
Yeah, or give us the tunes that you want to hear at that time.
That's dangerous. Who knows? We're going to get a really eclectic range of stuff, isn't it?
We can edit it.
The best DJ in the world's not going to be able to put that together. Okay, so I guess coming away from, and again, massive thank you to everything you do on the committee, and like I say, it's great having you on board with the previous experience of being chair as well. Coming away from that and talking about the day jobs. Tell us a bit more about you and your day jobs.
So I guess my 7 days a week is split into 3.5 days a week. One, I work on Not My Monkey, which is the coffee shop and wine lounge on the wharf, and the other 3.5 days a week is spent on a job that I'm incredibly passionate about, which is emotional well-being. I'm a psychotherapist.
Sure.
But that really is how the week is split up, 3.5 days each. People get confused at that point, because they go, well, that's 7 days. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
And does it work like that? Is it 3.5? Do you manage to?
Definitely with the psychotherapy, I start on a Tuesday morning and I finish a Friday lunchtime.
Okay.
So that's the 3.5 days. I would be lying if I didn't say that in the middle of all of that, I'm still doing stuff for Not My Monkey, because that doesn't stop.
So you actually do 8 days a week?
Well, if there was 8 days a week, that's what I'd be doing. We actually had a day at the coast last week, which was really nice. So occasionally on a Sunday we'll get away and step away.
Yeah.
But it's busy. I love both sides of it. The hospitality, which we've never done before, is a challenge.
Yep.
We want to offer great service. We wanted to offer something to Newark that Newark doesn't currently have, or didn't currently have.
Sure.
We wanted to kind of fill a niche, and the psychotherapy has been a lifelong passion of mine.
And of course, you're sponsoring the meeting for us in May, so we'll get to find out a bit more about that. I guess as a kind of brief summary, are you able to give us a bit of an idea on some of the stuff that you get involved with?
I think I want to give an overview of mental health, because I think we confuse mental health and we overcomplicate it, and it's really not complicated. Having good, positive, sustainable mental health is quite easy, but we use big words and we just overcomplicate it. So what I really want to do is simplify it, and I want people to be able to walk away with at least 3 or 4 hacks that they can take into their day-to-day life. Nice. and lead healthier, kind of more peaceful lives. Because I think now more than ever, as the country's in a bit of turmoil at the minute, and I don't think we've ever quite settled down after COVID. And I say that often, and I think it's time that we did. Even in this time of turmoil, we have to settle down and just be more peaceful and enjoy life.
Yep. No, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just it's the world that's in turmoil.
Yeah. Yeah, it is actually, yeah.
And actually, I think a lot of it is not looking at some of the news and trying to keep away from some of the...
I never watch the news.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would hear that and go, "Oh, that's really stupid, and it's a little bit naive, and it's a little bit..." I don't watch the news. When it comes on at 10 o'clock at night, I turn it off. I don't listen. The only time I listen to the news, if I'm listening to Radio 2 and it comes on and I catch it by accident, and even then I hear stuff and like, I didn't need to know that because I can't change it. I can't touch it.
Yeah, if it's important enough, you find out anyway because someone's going to get a notification on their phone.
I always say that.
Did you hear that?
If there's going to be a meteor hit the Earth and I'm going to die, then firstly, do I want to know that? Secondly, I will know via Facebook because somebody will put it on Facebook.
Spotted Newark.
Has anyone seen that huge object that's coming down into...
We will find out stuff that we really need to know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but apart, we shouldn't be watching the news.
Yeah.
We don't. It's dramatized and it's written by somebody else's perspective, and they have to dramatize it for people to watch it. We don't need it.
Yeah.
Well, when you're trying to fill 24 hours of news, then you've got to
You're
have
scraping, aren't you?
You have to have content, and you have, and unfortunately, it becomes more jock type stuff rather than
clickbait, trying to get you to react to something
because they're all fighting for that same space.
Attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I hope to do next Friday is just give people something very simple to take away.
Brilliant.
Okay. And I guess, from my perspective, one of the things I've talked about is, the idea that, people say, oh, we're all in all in the same boat. Yeah. And I always go, actually, we're all in the same storm.
Yeah.
We're in different boats.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think it's important, and I'm sure you'll be touching on, the idea actually of, reaching out.
Yeah.
Thinking and just being aware, I guess, of other people, what their circumstance is, I think it was a phrase that was used actually during COVID, which is why it reminds me. And I remember someone specifically saying to me, "We're all in the same boat," and I went, "No, we're all in the same storm. You're in a yacht, and I'm in a paddle boat at the moment." So let's just think about that because actually it does affect people in different ways. Absolutely. And I suppose part of what you do as well is being mindful of just other people, surroundings, how it affects them.
Yeah, and actually how you went into the storm is also really important, and I want to touch on that next week as well. The history of who we are, our childhood, our genetics are all kind of really relevant in terms of who we are, and it's important that we know who we are and where we've come from, so as we can then take action.
Yeah.
So although I joked with Michael and said the presentation's not written, it is definitely in my head. And it starts off with a really interesting story, let's say.
Okay. But this is, and again, from a business perspective, and Michael, you and I have chatted about this loads when it comes to, your personality. You are who you are. I think one of the personality profiles that we looked at said, I think from the age of 21, 22, your personality is fairly fixed. Unless some big trauma comes across, or you go and work in the SAS or something, and they manage to, but you are who you are. And actually it's about embracing that. And I guess that's
and working with
what
it.
We've chatted about as well before.
Working with it. If I think about a lot of the one-to-one work I do with clients, a lot of it is about acceptance. This is who you are now. How can we work? How can we work with this to the best of your advantage?
Yeah. No.
Acceptance is key, and like you said earlier, awareness is key as well.
Yeah, being aware. Nice. And I suppose from a not my monkey point of view then, so you get involved, you get involved with everything, don't you? But obviously we were lucky to have your venue and for the Patrons Dinner last year. That worked really, really well. We were able to use the whole space. You guys created a menu that worked to allow us to network and speak to people. You were in the kitchen quite a bit though, weren't you?
Well, I kind of, some people would call me a control freak. Although there are people...
Not me.
Michael wouldn't say that. But, I like to keep my hand in. I like to keep my hand in.
What was that dessert that we had? Was it bread and butter pudding?
There was two. There was bread and butter pudding.
I was the trifle.
And there was
you did a terrible job of being
both homemade.
That.
And we brought them out and we let you serve them.
You needed a trowel to get. It was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah. Trowel might be a bit.
Bit rude.
Doesn't give the greatest impression.
No.
Kevin's desserts need a trowel. Please.
You needed a trowel. That big spoon that you had wasn't helping. But
Kevin gave me a big spoon. I don't know why he gave me a big spoon.
Well, that bread and butter pudding was amazing. So we'll have to make sure that we get the recipe. If you could do a cookbook.
We could do a cookbook. Yeah. Would you like the same desserts this year?
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Michael Straighten, right?
Can we get someone else to serve the trifle? Silver service, Michael.
He's serving it.
No.
Well, there you go. You've got your name on that one.
That sounds like it. But no, it was very good. And obviously it sounds like, that's a passion as well.
It is. I think we've, at home, Les and I have always entertained. We've always had parties. So actually what we've done is we've taken the stuff that we were doing at home and just put it into a business. Really passionate. I'm really passionate about the way that I get served in places, the way that people interact with me, the offering, the ambience, the lighting, the music, which is part of what I try to take into the club as well, because that's really important.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just been a challenge. It's like, let's see if we can do this and turn it into a business. And for all intents and purposes, it's successful. People like it, and we have a very secure and loyal following.
Good.
So,
and I guess upstairs as well, you had the opportunity to refurb that, and you've got an Airbnb property upstairs.
Yeah, there's a really beautiful Airbnb upstairs that can be used as a meeting space, and we do all sorts of stuff up there. So it's just a very versatile, lovely place to be in.
Good. Go check that out as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Well, thanks for everything you do for the club.
Not at all. It's my pleasure.
We're delighted that you're sponsoring this month's meeting, and
Me too.
looking forward to listening to your story.
It'll be nice to be able to put across, because I know that people know me as the guy from Not My Monkey now. It feels like I've got my face all over that. So it'll be nice to kind of pull it back a little bit and go, actually, this is what I really do.
Yeah.
This is what I'm really passionate about, and this is what pays the mortgage as well.
Yeah.
Which is important.
No, sounds good. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today. And as mentioned, if you are driving into the business club this morning, then you will be hearing more of Kevin.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers, Kevin.
Thank you.
Looks like it's going to be another exciting meeting, Simon. So looking forward to that. And that's it for this month's podcast.
Wow.
So
another podcast done.
My final words of wisdom: just start. Don't worry that you don't have all the answers yet.
I like it.
Very good.
And linked to everything we've been talking about today, technology, just get on with it. You've got to start.
Yep.
Got to start using it. And you've got lots of people locally who are more than happy to help you and guide you if you do come stuck or you just want some pointers.
Yeah, no, I like that, and I mentioned that to someone else in our office yesterday actually, because we've got a couple of quotes in our office. We've got the big wall that says "Luck is when preparation meets opportunity." No such thing as luck. Actually, be prepared, and when it comes, grab it. And actually, the other one was if you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask which seat, just get on. So I think again the idea, and I'm sure your chairman at Barcode Warehouse, Liam Rossley, would often say, actually, let's say yes, and let's just try and figure out, knowing that you've got a great team around you. It's a case of going, look, let's look at this positively. Let's see if we can do it, and let's work the details out afterwards.
It's a great mentality to have, I think. So yeah.
Jump into it, 2 feet first.
So thank you to Kevin for his time on the pod this month, and obviously Liam from Barcode Warehouse.
Massive thank you again.
And
See you again next month.
See you all next month.
Thank you.